culture. And so I built this presentation to highlight how conflict manifests within organizations and how that impacts us as we navigate as the leaders in those organizations. Um, One of the things when I think about system thinking, a concept that I picked up when I was working on my doctorate, where so often we can get focused on what we're doing in our area that we lose sight of the system. And so, especially in higher education, whatever you're doing in your area, it directly impacts someone else in the organization. I can remember being in student conduct, and if we held a student accountable, where let's say if I suspended a student that impacted so many other areas within the organization, whether it was student housing, um, the dining services, um, financial aid, registrar, like that decision that I made in student conduct impacted the system. And so often we get caught up on just seeing what we're doing that we realize that as you see here, we have a fly on the wall. You only see what's in front of you. But the goal when you're thinking about systems thinking is how do I zoom out from the wall so that I can see the whole wall? And one of the things that is very important to do as a leader, especially as an executive, you have to be able to see the entire system. And so that's what we're hoping to do here is how do we zoom out so that you can see the system and how you can impact the entire system. I don't know if you all are familiar with Bowman and Deal reframing organizations, but this is a resource that I utilize in my work in terms of working with organizations to help them understand that there is more to resolving issues than just trying to take the same approach over and over. And I'll talk more about that as we move forward. But basically, what Bowman and Deal says is that when you're reframing an organization, there's multiple lenses and multiple windows that you look through to try to resolve that issue. So when you're looking at an issue, there's four frames. So there's the human resources frame, the symbolic frame, the political frame, the structural frame. And when you're a leader in the organization, or even if you're not the leader in the organization, no matter where you are in the space, a lot of times we try to resolve issues using the same frame. Example, we may have a policy that we created that would fall under the structural frame. We had an issue, we created a policy. We're still having issues, so we go back and we try to keep working on the policy and make the policy better. But it may not be the policy that's the problem. It could be the person that you have implementing the policy or managing it. And so that's when you start looking through the human resource frame and figure out how do we shift that. Maybe we need to put someone else in charge of that. Or when you're thinking about the symbolic frame, that's culture. Maybe this is something that the culture of our institution needs to shift so that that policy can manifest and be what it needs to be. And then you also look through it through the political frame and what are the politics of the organization that may be impacting that. And so it's taking this notion and saying, how do you look through these four lenses to put yourself in the best position to figure out what's the resolution that needs to happen? And the reality is that conflict lives within all of these frames.